Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Madam President. Having spent my entire life in competitive sport, maybe I am naive, but I truly believe, respect, and honor the long-standing global tradition of fair competition. Let the best prevail. Work hard, be disciplined, strong-minded, push yourself to the max, respect the result of a fair, equitable, impartially judged competition. So observing, analyzing, researching, debating the various levels of executive overreach, intervention, interfering, interfacing, and influencing the process for the appointment of an independent commissioner of police by the Independent Police Service Commission has left me baffled, bemused, bewildered, and embarrassed for the members of the PNM government who've been involved in this process. Shame on them all. The PNM seeks to control. As I prepared for this debate, a statement made in this Senate by the Honorable Independent Senator Vera, as we debated and discussed at committee stage a bill to create boards and a corporation for NAPA and SAPA, the independent senator noted, why so much ministerial control, too much control? Why you want to control? Let qualified people do their jobs. Select them and let them flourish. Those words just kept hitting me as I went through and analyzed this process. Control, control, control. I picked up my Constitution, 1976 edition, Republican Constitution, and I tried to see what was the spirit of the law. Because we talk about Section 123(2), and the government is trying to attempt to say that what they are doing is normal and fits in and it's not unconstitutional. But when I read my Constitution and try to think about the spirit of the law, the spirit of the Constitution, the spirit of democracy and the spirit of freedom, I see it being trampled upon on every avenue. I do not share the view of my former independent colleague because I can see it throughout, from the preamble of this Constitution to different sections, elements that have taken place to bring us here to discuss or debate Legal Notice 277, Legal Notice 278, and to void it and annul it. The mere fact that we are here shows that something is awry. It's a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of intellectual capital being wasted as our people need us to focus on laws that will assist them, protect them, and keep them safe. A constitution created a democracy that we believe we have, and one of those tenets is the separation of powers. Separation of powers is critical for democracy, so that the executive branch can control certain aspects of life, make decisions that the government or cabinet may believe are in the best interest of the people, but that there are checks and balances, that an independent institution like the police is a critical element of a democracy and must not be tampered with in any form or fashion. And the mere fact that we are here today and we can go cumulatively to say that over 1 week of debate, discussion, parliamentary time has been spent on ins and out, changes, manifestations, drafts of orders, pulling back orders, amendments to orders, all to impact a process that should be independent. That alone should give us all time to pause. Democracy is on one end of the continuum of political systems. The other end is authoritarianism. And we in Trinidad and Tobago are in a dictatorship masquerading as a democracy. I read and I recall reading the great political theories edited by Michael Curtis on page 222, where Burckhardt, the German political thinker, spoke about force and freedom. And when I read this, I was in shock. This was written analyzing political institutions and geopolitical positions and democracies and leaderships and government back in the 19th century. And he said, and I quote, the growth, Burckhardt, Force and Freedom, the growth of the power of the state. In the 19th century, it might have appeared as if the state were merely a police force protecting this multitudinous activity, i.e., industrialization in England, world trade, extension of colonialization, etc., which at one time looked at the state for cooperation in many directions, but ultimately only required of it the abolition of restrictions. And on the other hand, the state, as independently of all this development as the temporary circumstances permitted, proclaimed its power as a heritage to be increased with might and main. Whatever possible, it reduced the rights of the ties. It reduced the rights of the lower orders to a mere fiction. There were and still are dynasties, bureaucracies, and militarisms which are firmly resolved to establish their own programs and not to submit to dictation. At the same time, political thought claims for the state an ever-increasing and more comprehensive power of coercion, so that it may be in the position to put into practice the completely theoretical political programs which political thinkers periodically draw up, the most turbulent individuals demanding the most extreme control of the individual and the community. And here we are today, seated here debating legal notice after legal notice, amended legal notice, meritless, collapse of a police service commission, appointment of a new police service commission, throwing out and discarding of a meritless to create a new one, all with the underlying thread of control. You know, I am a sports fan. So allow me to put this into sports terms for the people to understand what is taking place. Because sometimes when you talk about legalese and constitution, the people get lost. But when you break it down for them, they can understand it. It's as if we are all in a stadium. The whole population is watching with great anticipation a football match. It's the 85th minute of the championship match, and the VAR is checking the last play by the great striker Double G. Did he handle the ball deliberately, or did the ball play his hand? The VAR checks the result, and they said it was not deliberate, so they leave this big striker Double G in the game based on merit of the review. The crowd is excited, and play is about to resume. All of a sudden, the gaffer, the manager, raises his hand, signaling to the referee to stick a small pin in the game, to pause. He calls for a substitution. Starboy Johnny is to come off the field. And in comes the main man that the gaffer has faith in. He has been substituted to all positions over the season. He played from goalie to striker to defender to forward to water boy to physio. He dances his way onto the field, comes in this superstar that has the confidence of the gaffer. And in the most unorthodox manner, right footing, then left footing, straight up to the referee. He's talking to the referee, and the entire crowd is watching and wondering, what could this conversation be? All of a sudden, the referee decides he is going to review that last play. He makes the signal for his VAR review, and he himself runs across to look at the video as the game, and this results in the changing of the rules as the game is going on. After checking the VAR, the referee who had already ruled comes back and sends Double G off the field. He changes his decision based on a discussion with the substitute who came in. He takes the small pin out and resumes the game with 10 players on the field, leaving the whole crowd helplessly confused, literally at a loss. And this is what is taking place in Trinidad and Tobago. We have a system and a process, and the rules are being changed while the game is still going on. And yet it is not a game. It is very serious business that impacts the lives of our citizens that we are entrusted with keeping the care of, presenting them with a system that creates the opportunity for safety and security and upholding the Constitution throughout. But yet today, I come here and I could not believe, because we are seeing a situation where an acting Attorney General revokes the order drafted by the substantive Attorney General, and today the substantive Attorney General tries to defend the acting Attorney General's legal notice. Quite amazing. We are here now all of a sudden debating that seniority has no place. But what is seniority? The whole concept of seniority was based on merit, because it would assume, one would assume, that promotion through a police service or an army in forces that exist with ranks, that one would be promoted and become senior due to good performance based on merit, and they move up in the ranks. Now all of a sudden we are here debating that this government, this PNM government, believes that seniority is not a criteria. Therefore, the historical promotion process throughout the police service is negated and debunked. And therefore, one's track record for decades is ignored. And can we approve this? And why is this necessary? Why change the rules of the game while the game is still going on? The constitutional crisis which enveloped this country for weeks on end came about from a weak position that led to a weakening of the Constitution for weeks and weeks, making the police service weak in the face of a growing crime monster. This weak argument may appease
Senator Roberts, I just want to draw your attention that you are treating with the motion brought by Senator Mark to annul the 2 legal notices. But what you're now embarking on, you're straying from Senator Mark's motion. So I'll ask you to come back to it, please.
Thank you very much, Madam President. This weak argument may appease Senator Paula Gopi Schoon, who is the Minister of Trade and Industry. It may be weeks before the President of the Police Welfare Society condemns this process. In May, weeks away. The preamble to the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago used to oust an incumbent UNC government to install another PNM government by a president who was personally motivated so to do.
Senator Roberts, I ask you please to heed my advice and deal with the motion at hand, please.
Thank you, Madam. I'm dealing with the motion and the constitutionality as brought into the discussion about the orders, ma'am.
Senator Roberts, I have asked you to please try and be relevant to the motion. So clearly, I am not of the view that right now you're being relevant. I'd ask you please to confine yourself to the matter at hand.
Thank you, ma'am. The motion we are here to do today is to annul the order legal notice 277 and 278 amended to impact the independent process of the Police Service Commission. Senator Mark and the United National Congress believe that these legal notices and the quagmire and the imbroglio that brought us to this position are and go against the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land. The preamble of the Constitution states at Section A society of free men and free institutions is what we want to create here in Trinidad and Tobago. But yet the PNM has started to change this, especially in this version of the PNM, to take control, where the ministers control the TTRA, the Revenue Authority, appoint the board, appoint the investigator general, appoint all the directors general. They are putting doctors on boards and influencing independent institutions through promotion and profit based on appointments to executive positions. We saw in the economic zones that there was in interest of the power of the minister, whatever minister is in charge, to determine conditions for businesses. In the NAPA and SAPA corporate bodies, even Senator Vera had to talk about the control.
Senator Roberts, please. You are embarking on debates that have been concluded, and you're also you're not linking anything that you're saying. You're speaking very generally, and you're not linking anything to the two notices that Senator Mark has sought to annul.
The two notices that Senator Mark wants annulled, it is the position of the United National Congress that these are ultra vires, that these go against the Constitution, that they should be annulled and rejected because they infringe upon the rights of the people of Trinidad and Tobago through their incongruous nature to the Constitution. I have just shown by Section A of the Constitution and now by Section B of the preamble, which states there should be opportunity for advancement on the basis of merit, ability, and integrity. Merit and ability. We are seeing that in these two legal notices, one, merit of all citizens who were not in the institution of the police have been negated, and they will not be due for selection as contract workers. People on contract would not be considered for the substantive job nor to act. And that eliminates a lot of qualified citizens in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, which before these notices could have applied. Secondly, the amendment, legal notice 278, removes seniority. And seniority is in its essence a merit-based system, because coming through the ranks, one receives promotion because of performance, discipline, hard work, and ability. To remove seniority in legal notice 278 goes against Section B of the preamble of the Constitution. And this was used to thwart a merit list, simply because the member or the leader of the executive arm of the government, where we operate in a democracy, where there is separation of powers, lost confidence in our human being. Ability matters not to the PNM. Simply look at the PNM cabinet. Scholarships have been made, turned and transformed into bursaries. Scholarships are based on merit. Bursaries are based on subjective processes and decisions. Financial institutions in Trinidad and Tobago with long-standing track records lose tender after tender under this PNM government.
Senator Roberts, you were on the right track and now you've gone off again. So I would ask you to get back on the track. Okay?
Thank you, Madam. I'm showing that merit is part and forms part of the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago, as it's in the preamble and throughout. And that this government, in its decisions, not only in legal notice 277 and amended 278, but in other decisions has shown that their track record is to remove merit and create a different system of political control throughout, through their policies, through their practices, through contractors who are subcontracted to build central blocks at the hospital in Port of Spain, and the contract has collapsed because of that, and it goes on and on. Merit is a very important part of Trinidad and Tobago, and merit should form a part of all of us who are here. I could remember in 1988, for example, I was playing national under-19 football, training, and they were selecting the team and cutting it down to 18. Some members of that team were Dwight York, Colvin Hutchinson, Kona Hislop, coming down the line. I was unable to make the final 18, so I decided to go back into swimming. I got into the pool and I trained and I made the national team for the Carifta Championships in Jamaica. I had beaten, by the date of selection on merit, a young man named Lawrence Albada. And so I was selected for the national team. 10 days later, the National Short Course Championships, Lawrence Albada beat me to a pulp, coming and going in every race. But yet the national team, they said, had been selected. I went to the president of the association and I said, on merit, Lawrence Albada needs to wear the red, white, and black. I am taking myself off of the team to make a space available for him. That is how important merit is. So if we have a merit list that citizens have gone through a process, and the merit list is duly authorized and approved by a majority of the Police Service Commission, and therefore alive, well, and legal, for an executive, for a government to intervene through a legal notice to impact the merit.
Senator Roberts, you are not dealing with the legal notices that are the subject of the motion. That you're not. And I will ask you, please, I don't know how many times I've asked you, but I will ask you, please, to be relevant to legal notice 277 and 278.
Legal notice 277 removes a section of the population from applying to and receiving a job of high merit, a job that one has to work for their entire career. Legal notice 278 clearly removes the process and principle of seniority, which is merit, to ensure that people who may have earned an opportunity to perform a duty in this country are not allowed so to do. I am saying that legal notice 277 and 278 go against the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago, as I just quoted from the section which stated, and I quote, there should be opportunity for advancement on the basis of merit, ability, and integrity. I proffer that merit, ability, and integrity are espoused in the principle of seniority, and therefore legal notice 278 goes against the Constitution of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. We have seen it in this government. In our history, we have had attorneys general of great ilk, great silk, brilliance: Carl Hudson Phillips, Anthony Smart, Russell Martino, Keith Sobian, Ramesh Maraj, Sir Ellis Clark, Selwyn Richardson, Anthony Smart, Anand Ramlogan. And now we are forced here with an attorney general who cannot spell blanchishers and prints and drafts laws, brings them to the parliament, thwarts the Constitution.
Point of order, 46-4.
Senator Roberts, I uphold the standing order. I uphold the objection. I will ask you, please, this matter that is before us is not about the Attorney General. So I will ask you, please, in your last few minutes, to come to the matter at hand, come back to it.
Thank you very much. This matter at hand is about merit, and the current Attorney General does not merit the position. What is wrong
Senator Roberts, I will ask you, please, to withdraw that statement.
I withdraw. Madam President. What is wrong with merit? Why so much energy and effort? Why so much thought and parliamentary gymnastics with regards to the appointment of a commissioner of police? Section C of the preamble continues, all persons may, to our constitution, of which these two legal notices are starkly in opposition to the principles.
Senator
the
Roberts, you have
spirit-
5 more minutes.
Thank you. The spirit and the concept of our Republican Constitution. The preamble, Section C, says all persons may, to the extent of their capacity, play some part in the institutions of the national life and thus develop and maintain due respect for lawfully constituted authority. When one plays games and shenanigans in the process of selection and removes merit and removes seniority and creates a situation where political interference leads to the selection of the leadership of the police force, the police service, one would understand that the population will lose confidence in such a service. That is why this process was created, to be independent. The Independent Police Service Commission, and what has occurred over the last 3 months has left the population aghast and without trust in the leadership of the police service. A pristine process brings trust. A tainted process engenders disrespect. And it is our position that legal notice 277 and legal notice 278 taint the independent process of the selection of a commissioner of police. Policing requires community policing. It requires citizens to come forward with trust. But when people feel that there is political interference in the police service will suffer. Section 2 of this Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and any other law that is inconsistent with this Constitution is void to the extent of the inconsistency. Based on all antecedents bringing us to this stage today, I proffer that legal notice 277 is void. Amended legal notice 278 is void. The collapse and subsequent rapid replacement of the Police Service Commission is void. The rejection of a properly, legally constituted and approved merit list is void. The current leadership, which owes its elevation to the compromise nutrition of the poison tree from the rancid root, manifested in the hardened heart of a lost, confused and dangerous dictator, is void. The PNM is void. The PNM must go, and that is mandatory. I leave you with this critical question. What would be so urgent, so important, or critical to make a prime minister, a cabinet, and or 2 attorneys general, substantive and acting, flout existing laws, the Constitution, the principle of separation of powers, the principles of fairness, merit, and propriety, in this blatant, glaring manner, knowing full well that the population is watching, listening, discerning, and understanding exactly what is being perpetrated by this dictatorial, oppressive PNM government, and that they have responded politically in Tobago
Madam President,
already.
46.4 and 46.6, please, on a point of order.
Senator Roberts, once again, I uphold the objection. You have 2 more minutes.
Thank you, Madam President. The people of Tobago have already spoken, and the people shall similarly respond in Trinidad when given the opportunity so to do. Why would a government take such a risk to interfere in an independent process? Why does a government need to control the police? Why would a government require a legal notice 277 and 278 to prevent someone from attaining a job that they duly deserve so to be based on the merit list? Why? I ask why. And I leave it for the population to answer that question. Thank you, Madam President.